Hello, I'm Only Jackson. Oh boy, do we got a live one. Fresh 2025 groomer allegations with receipts. The way this all came to be revealed is pretty crazy, so let's start with a little bit of a timeline. On January 27th, very small-time Twitch streamer and YouTuber, we're talking about a combined maybe less than 1,000 subs, by the name of Davey, going by Mak0zy, started posting vague and cryptic tweets on his main Twitter account with just over 1,500 followers. He's saying things like, I don't know what to do, I'm gonna disappoint so many people, things are about to get bad, etc. The next day, he posts this tweet. Oh, he deleted it. The account no longer exists. Well, it's gone. So maybe he didn't Goonicide. I've got a screenshot of it though. Hold on. I wouldn't be much of a good video person if I didn't, right? I'm very sorry to everyone I disappointed. I never wanted any of this. Goodbye and thank you for everything. None of you will ever see me again. I hope you never find out the reason why I had to do this. And when someone mentioned in his replies that they hadn't seen a Mak0zy/Davey tweet in 2 months just to come back and see that he was quitting, Davey responded with, no, I'm not quitting. I'm Gooniciding myself. I just want to make that clear. That tweet at the time of writing has over 13 million views, and at the time of recording has 18 million views. And that's what landed on my timeline and got me looking into what all the hubbub was about. I imagine that 13 million other people saw this reply before seeing the other 2 tweets, drawing attention to the situation at hand. Now, normally I wouldn't focus too deep on what's going on here, as Mak0zy or Davey is such a small creator that I wouldn't exactly consider this like, the Mak0zy situation is crazy type situation. But the Goonicide post went so viral on X that it made sense to put the allegations into a more digestible format. Everything said, of course, is alleged and has not been proven in a court of law. I'm not stating any facts, rather, more so I'm regurgitating the story from both the posts on X as well as from the victim herself. I have been given a Google Doc from her with all of the relevant screenshots, which we will be showing here in this video, obviously with her identifying information being blurred out. I am not making the claim that anyone is a pet or a groomer. However, the evidence is pretty clear here that Mak0zy, who is either 20 or 21 at the current moment, knows that the victim was 16 at the time that they were exchanging lewd images and words with each other. Sorry, I said that confusingly. Let me clarify. She was 16 when this interaction happened. He's still 20 or 21 when this is all going on. So, let's get into it. Apparently, this whole line of tweets and threats of Goonicide is due to a situation between himself and a minor who we're gonna call Danielle. According to Danielle, she thought that Mak0zy was attractive, but never really took initiative on those feelings, which is good because he's 20 or 21 at the time and she was 16. Danielle says in a Twitter thread with the allegations that one night she got drunk, pulled an all-nighter, and decided to come to him with her feelings of attraction. There are going to be a lot of screenshots in this video, so please feel free to pause at any time if you want to take a closer look. Please keep in mind from this point on, I'm intoxicated in these screenshots. I had been drinking leftover alcohol from New Year's Eve. My family is full of alcoholics, so we got a lot, and my dad said we, quote, needed help getting them out of the pantry, unquote. For starters, I had found Mak0zy attractive for some time. I thought he was really handsome, but I never acted on anything towards him. He had texted me after I pulled an all-nighter while I was drunk. I only told him I was hungover. I don't get drunk often, but when I do, I start becoming extremely unfiltered and spew out whatever is on my mind. This is basically what happened to get me into this situation in the first place, but he didn't seem to take notice of my messy typing or weird behavior. Mak0zy says, ugh, done for today. Got like Diamond 3, 40 LP. Despite it being my peak, today fucking sucked. Lost too much and played like shit. Danielle says, a bunch of gibberish. Mak0zy asks what? She says what? He asks what? She says a bunch of more gibberish. He says, I still have no idea. What? What's winked? Danielle says, I think I want you. Mak0zy says, oh, LMFAO. She says, yes. He says, are you drunk right now? She says, no, I was last night, but I didn't get on my PC or anything. Mak0zy says, darn. She asks, why darn? He says, I don't know what to say. And then they continue talking through this drunk keyboard nonsense to where eventually Danielle says, you're so slow, but okay, you have to pinky promise this won't be weird and you won't kill me. To which Mak0zy replies, okay, pinky equals promised. Danielle says, you're so sexy. You're so sexy, I want to do dirty adult bedroom things with you. Like, holy shit. Like, obviously I wouldn't. That's illegal. And I have a boyfriend, but I just needed to get that off my chest. To which Mak0zy replies, this is a very unique crash out. Danielle Danielle continues the thread saying, "He didn't stop me, he didn't block me, he played into it. I wanted to stop telling him more because I thought it was weird, but he persisted. And my drunk ass was like, haha, okay, whatever he says." In the attached screenshots, it's clear that the alleged victim has more to say, but she does seem a bit wary of just coming forward with it, to which Mak0zy says, "Might as well, I guess?" She says, "No." He says, "Come this far?" She says, "Because that's actually weird. No, like that's actually illegal." To which Mak0zy says, "God damn, what are you hiding?" As they continue chatting, it seems based off of these logs as if Mak0zy is pretty interested in hearing more about what the victim has to say. Danielle at one point says that she thinks this whole conversation is just her intrusive thoughts getting the better of her, to which Mak0zy says, "Hey, yeah, exactly. Gotta let those thoughts out so they don't trouble you anymore," and continues to try to get her to open up further. "Please, it's making me want to say less. I think that's a good thing." He says, "If you've let out what you want to say." She says, "No, I haven't, but it's probably better the sooner it ends." To which he replies, "Okay, I'm gonna start a 2-minute timer, and during this time, you're free to say literally anything without judgment, understand?" To which Danielle says, "Oh, what? No, don't say that." And then he starts like a countdown for the 2 minutes. Again, all this is alleged, but like it's pretty clear from these messages, he seems to understand where this conversation is going, and he's trying to further that. After this, they continue chatting, but according to Danielle, Mak0zy at some point started deleting messages before she could get screenshots. "I told him about my adult object and its size. He deleted all of this before I could get any screenshots because he was still heavily paranoid. But he told me the size of his adult object, boy part, and the width of it in comparison. He offered to tell me all of this. This is all I have of the screenshot." The screenshots that follow seem to back up her statement, with Mak0zy casually mentioning that his boy part is bigger than the alleged victim's adult object. Danielle asks for more specific measurements, and Mak0zy gives them to her and says, "That's it, no more," before apparently relenting and offering to send her a picture that was, quote, "not overly sexual." From the screenshots provided, this little blurry part of the image would be Mak0zy sending said picture. Getting back to Danielle's thread, after that he decided to call me and put me into some sort of weird erotic hypnosis thing, which is the 2 big role-playing screenshots you had seen on my private in the first thread. From this point on, I was sobering up. The following screenshots were not featured in the alleged victim's thread, although they were apparently in a different thread posted to her private Twitter. I won't read the whole thing out loud, but basically, it looks like pretty much exactly what she described it as. It's just some degenerate roleplay that you would expect from 2 people on Discord. What can I say? Man, I don't want to read this. "The orgasm you feel will be the most overwhelming, mind-numbing pleasure you've ever thought possible. Your brain will melt down as your body shakes and quivers in the mind-blowing orgasm you will experience." Ugh. Danielle says, "I still wasn't fully sober, unfortunately, and started to put my own body on the line. Like a fucking idiot, he accepted and we exchanged nudes. He then sent me a video of him pulling his boxers down." It's not clear from the screenshots if after the call ended, Danielle had either wanted to continue the call or receive something else from Mak0zy, but according to the logs, she asked if she were to give Mak0zy photos of her, what would he want? To which he asks her to give him a classic mirror selfie with no clothes on. After a bit of preparation that I'd rather not repeat, the logs show that she did, in fact, wind up sending Mak0zy an explicit image, to which Mak0zy replies, "God, you're so hot." According to the logs, after this, Danielle asked Mak0zy for a picture in return, where it does indeed appear that he sent her a picture for a little peek. It's unclear from the screenshot what exactly was shown, but from additional screenshots, it can be seen that he asked Danielle for more pictures of her, showing off her backside. She agrees and sends those pictures as well. After this, it looks like Mak0zy sent a picture of his little Davy, but the image is thankfully blurred. However, pattern recognition and context clues would lead us to surmise that the blurred picture is in fact of Mak0zy's little Davy. Now, these next few screenshots were featured in a different thread that unfortunately I don't have screen grabs of, but timeline wise, they happen right here, and well, I'll just read them out. "If you hate my guts, why would I hate you? And I get exposed for killing puppies daily or something, you'll be a full-grown fucking man in 7 years, and I'll be grown too. Who even cares? We can whack it out. And everyone's coming out with their stories and experiences with Mak0zy. You don't go, might as well, and whatever." Danielle says, "Look, I understand your paranoia, Davey. I am one of the most paranoid people in the world, but you have my word, because if a sexy piece of hot ass like you ever ended up behind bars, I'd never forgive myself, because how am I supposed to cop that if the cops cop got to him first. David replies, "This is bad." David replies, "You can always use the 'I was a minor, I didn't know any better' argument, I guess." From these logs, it would appear that Mak0zy knows that what he's doing is wrong and illegal, at least according to Mak0zy himself. At some point the following day, according to the logs, they were doing another explicit roleplay where Mak0zy seems to again acknowledge that Danielle is a minor, but this time not in an exactly wholesome way. I'm not going to read the whole thing aloud, just the part that really seems to seal the deal. "Just imagine me R-wording your pathetic child, girl parts." And then he also says, "Did you come, kiddo?" So, I mean, this is bad, right? This is really, really bad. He doesn't seem to be hiding it at all, actually. That's bad. But back to Danielle's threads, she says, "I was showing him my Project Sekai gameplay and made a joke about my fingers. Then he kicked it up a notch and asked me this question and some more questions like this." The following screenshots show Mak0zy asking the alleged victim about her sexual habits, how often she goons, and fantasizing about R-wording the alleged victim. Over the next few days, according to Danielle, it was much of the same. Mak0zy talking about his fantasies and sending explicit images and videos to her. That is, according to the screenshots, Mak0zy reaches out to her to tell her that this whole situation has been stressing him out and he feels nervous and he feels guilty about the whole thing, giving the impression that they should probably stop. Danielle, the alleged victim, lashes out at Mak0zy, feeling betrayed and used by him. It's a lot to read and doesn't necessarily have much to do with the grooming and other stuff. It's more just an example of how Mak0zy allegedly is a pretty horrible dude. The alleged victim did ask me not to share the doc she made, so I won't, but if you'd like to pause the video and take a look at this conversation, I'll put it up on screen right now. And while you're clicking the pause button to read the fallout between a minor and an alleged groomer, why don't you go ahead and click that subscribe button too? I know you've been eyeing it this whole video. Come on, it's not gonna hurt ya. Let your intrusive thoughts win. I mean, hey, it's like Mak0zy allegedly says, if you don't let them out, they're gonna hurt you. Go ahead, like and subscribe. I dare you. I dare you. Anyway, so after their last exchange, it appears that the alleged victim blocked Mak0zy on Discord. A short time later, she would go on to post her allegations and screenshots to X where, and this is, I'm guessing here, Mak0zy saw the call out and allegations thread and decided to DM her. "I have your answer. The only way I could ever pretend to like you was pretending you were older. I didn't want to ruin our friendship, and when you started coming at me, I did my best to pretend and not reject you categorically. And when the guilt caught up to me, I couldn't do it anymore. I tried to stop, but you held me at gunpoint. You've done nothing but disgust me, but none of that matters anymore. You won't have to worry about me talking to anyone anymore. I'm going to Goonicide. I hope this is what you wanted. Can you at least respect my last wish of deleting the post? A lot of genuinely good people unfortunately look up to me. I don't want to disappoint them. I'll be dead. You won't have to worry about me. Please, just let this die with me. Please." So that's all the story, according to the alleged victim. To me, it seems here that my opinion is that yeah, whoever this Mak0zy fella is, it looks like he's been getting up to no good with at least one minor. And since Mak0zy has been pretty quiet for the last few days on the internet, and I mean now I guess his whole profile is deleted off of X, I couldn't find it, but all of the info of this situation has been provided to us by the alleged victim. Dude isn't exactly standing up for himself here. Now I'm not saying that silence is an admission of guilt. If you've seen my Apology Cop series, you know that for the most part I always recommend staying quiet, but I mean threatening Goonicide over it, the leaked DMs, I mean it looks pretty bad. I'm having trouble trying to think of like an alternate scenario. According to Danielle, in DMs between her and I, there are at this point 4 or 5 other people who were also allegedly groomed by Mak0zy, and that would deserve another video, you know, going in like a deep dive on it. But for this video, we're just gonna focus on Danielle and Mak0zy as there's enough here to kind of paint a picture. Now, I'm glad that this situation kind of blew up because the alleged groomer is kind of a nobody, and had he not threatened Goonicide, this situation would have been kept to a pretty small group of people. My honest opinion is that there's enough evidence here for us to start to draw some conclusions. And then when you combine this evidence with the fact that Mak0zy said that he was gonna commit Goonicide over it, to me it reads a lot like an admission of guilt. That's not to say that maybe new evidence comes up and adds more context or shines a light on part of a situation that we didn't get a clear view of, but yeah. At this point, I think we have enough of a picture to start drawing some conclusions. Now, the alleged victim claims that she was getting plenty of harassment online for her part of this whole mess, and I would just like to remind everyone that we don't expect minors to know better, because if we did, we wouldn't have laws in place to protect them. So before you start arguing, not that you would, because I'm sure none of you would, but before you start arguing, saying things like, oh, she came on to him, just remember that children are retarded. retarded. I don't even think you should be able to drive at 16. That's how dumb I think this age group is. It's on the adults in every single one of these situations to know better, because as can be seen in this situation, we can't really rely on minors to always be using their better judgment, even if they know better. Now, I want to kind of get ahead of something here. Because the alleged victim has deleted a large portion of their original call out thread because, according to her, she was being harassed, I'm unable to find a ton of reply tweets that I saw arguing that the age of consent where Mak0zy is from, which I've gathered is Spain from a couple of GoFundMes he created as recently as like 8 months ago, but the age of consent in Spain where he's from is 16. So for anyone arguing that the age of consent in Spain or España is 16, congratulations, you're right. The age of consent in Spain is 16.
You made it to the end of the video. You should subscribe.
Ooh, but that's not the end of the conversation here. So while yes, the age of consent in Spain is 16, that has really nothing to do with this situation, because as backwards as it sounds, if all of this had happened in real life with no explicit messages sent back and forth, a 20-year-old doing dirty bedroom things in the bedroom with the 16-year-old doesn't seem to be a crime in Spain. However, Spain has some of the most strict laws and regulations when it comes to adult digital content. Videos, images, you know the word I'm avoiding saying right now. Going so far as, just last year, the Spanish government has started implementing a new sort of age verification that involves a digital wallet with a digital state-issued ID token to allow those over the age of 18 to view adult content online. Let's just say Spain, about their adult digital stuff, they're pretty strict about it, okay? They don't take this lightly. This is real. They don't take this lightly. I don't either. If you watch this, okay, now this goes without saying, if you're not old enough to watch dirty adult bedroom content, you're certainly not old enough to create dirty adult bedroom content. According to European Union Directive 2011/93, Article 2, which Spain follows as being part of the EU, a child is anyone under the age of 18. And the EU definition of CP includes, but it is not limited to, any depiction of the sexual organs of a child for primary sexual purposes, and or any material that visually depicts any person appearing to be a child engaged in real or simulated sexually explicit conduct, or any depiction of the sexual organs of any person appearing to be a child for primarily sexual purposes. So the age of consent argument wouldn't be a valid argument in this case based off of all of the available evidence, which again, the evidence we have is more than pretty damning. And I just want to clarify that EU thing. So if like you're reading like an anatomy textbook and you happen to see a 12-year-old boy part, that's not CP. But if you're on Discord talking about how one of the people in this group who's a minor wants to do dirty adult bedroom things with the other person who's an adult, and the minor asks, if I were to send you a picture, what would you want? And the adult were to say, send me a mirror pic with no clothes, that would be then CP. Because it's all about the implication. It's all about the intent. It's all about the implication. It's about the context. It's sexual in nature. Anyway, somehow it's okay in Spain to do dirty adult bedroom things with a child over the age of 16, but not to take any pictures of it. Make that make sense to me. Make that make sense. None of this makes sense. All of it makes me sick, and why? If you can't do one, why are you allowed to do the other? Just raise the age of consent. Well, I mean, am I crazy? Make it easy on everyone who would otherwise rush to defend a possible groomer and set the age of consent at 18. Like, hello? So this is the unscripted part of the video. If you want my honest opinion, I think the Goonicide tweet is like a call for attention. I want to make it clear, I don't like it when anybody I'm going to be clear, I don't like it when anyone Goonicides, but like, there's a lot of people like, or they were on his account, you know, telling him like, film it when you do it, do all this stuff, and like, whatever. It's hard to like, because again, everything's still alleged, but it's hard to like, when people prey on children, it's hard for me to have any sympathy. So like, I'm not going to be like, oh no, don't say this. Like, I think, you know, Goonicide, homicide, all of the sides. I think all the sides are pretty bad. But I guess there's just situations where you have more sympathy for some than others. So I appreciate the victim for reaching out to me and letting me talk. We talked on stream. And I just kind of wanted to get a full A to Z, to which she provided me the Google Doc, which is where most of the screenshots came from here. It was a little out of order, so I made sure everything was in chronological order. But yeah, big stuff. And it's another example. If he hadn't said he was going to commit Goonicide, this whole situation wouldn't have gotten blown up to get all this attention, which I don't know, man. I just like, I think based off what I've seen here, I think this guy's a creep and I don't like him and I would never like him. I think personally, my opinion based off what I've seen here is these allegations are true. But having said that, like, why say anything? Why signal boost it? You know what I mean? I really hate it when people get in their own way. I hate it even more when people are groomers. And so, you know, there's that. But please don't send any harassment to the victim. It sounds like she's been experiencing a lot of it. I do appreciate her working with me and giving me some, you know, additional info on the story, because when I was searching this, I mean, literally, I saw the I'm not quitting, I'm Gooniciding tweet. Like, that was like first thing I saw that morning. I hop on stream, try to like figure out more info on the stream. Someone in chat like links me to like someone's tweet that kind of explains it, and then I like quote tweeted something and the victim liked it, and I was like, oh man, like maybe we should hop on a Discord call. So that was really nice of her. I appreciate it. But I hate situations like this. But hopefully if you saw the Goonicide tweet and you were wondering what it was all about, now you know. So anyway, I've been Only Jax, and again, stop being weird with children. I feel like this is like the millionth time I've said it. Can I be done saying it?
You made it to the end of the video. You should subscribe, or maybe just leave a like. Leave a comment if you please, but I'd rather you subscribe. I check that shit like every day, and when that subscriber number goes up, well, my heart goes up to the sky. When you do